Game 7. Holy shit. Zach, I'll give you the floor again. I might have to leave to get some snacks. But floor is yours. You were at the watch party in San Antonio, I know that. But your Spurs win in amazing fashion in Game 7. NBA Finals bout against the Knicks. Before we talk about the NBA Finals, let's talk about Game 7 because that's just a couple days ago. Floor is yours.
Yeah, I don't really know where to start. That was the game of my life, I'd say. Like, Cole and I were talking about 2014, and obviously we won a championship there, but I was too young to really remember too much of it. But here, it felt so different. Like it was a surreal feeling to see my team go to the NBA Finals in a season where really everybody counted us out. Like everybody had us like around the midway point of the NBA, and now we're one of the two best teams in the world. We have the best player in the world, and things are looking good. I mean, still got a finals matchup with the Knicks, still got to win 4 more, but it's an incredible season regardless of the outcome. I don't even know where to start with this game. You know what? I always start with the Spurs, so why don't I go with the Thunder? Shea was obviously incredible. MVP, 35 points. Everything you'd expect from him and more in a Game 7. He emptied the clip. He shot just outlandish shots, but he made them. I mean, that was some true outlier shot making. If I've ever seen it, that's all-time great stuff. Like, that's Michael Jordan, that's Kobe Bryant, that's really what you see in all-time great players. And so, like, if I am looking at this series as for if I'm looking at this series in the terms of Shea, I would say as a whole, it is pretty disappointing, especially for a player of his caliber. But Game 7, there's no complaints there. He played out of his mind. He played otherworldly, and it kind of sucks that he got let down. I know people have had some criticisms about him only having like 4 points in the fourth quarter, but at some point you have to expect his teammates to step up. The 2 shots he did hit in the fourth were absolutely huge and kept the Thunder in the game. So I have no complaints about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He's one of the best players in the world, top 2 on any day. Debate a wall. Yeah, that's about it. Nothing much more for him. The man of the hour, the man who doesn't have the power, Chet Holmgren. Man, oh man, oh man. Do I feel sorry for Chet Holmgren? It's weird to say because I'm a Spurs fan, obviously. I don't really like Chet just because of the rivalry there, or in the past, I guess you could say. But I've always rated him very highly as a player ever since he's come into the league. And we've seen so much potential from him. He just made his first All-NBA team this year. He was an All-Star, runner-up in DPOY. He had a great first 2 rounds, but, man, it was rough this series. And I don't want to continue to pile on because that's just what everybody's been talking about, but it's an unavoidable talking point when you talk about this series because it was just bad. It was flat-out bad basketball from Chet Holmgren. He felt as if he wasn't even on the court at times. He scored 4 points. Like I just talked about Shea scoring 4 points in the fourth quarter. Like that's obviously different. He's the MVP. That like he is the league MVP. He has different standards as compared to Chet Holmgren. But Chet scored 4 points in the entire game. A Game 7 to go to the NBA Finals, and he scored 4 points. Like wow, I'm still wrapping my head around it. Like I watched the game. I felt like Chet didn't impact the game at all. But then I checked the box score, and I'm like, wow, he finished with 4 points. That's even more like abysmal than I thought. And he had a couple of really good blocks. I actually want to say both were on Dylan Harper because I think he went and tried to take his head off at the rim a couple times. But I digress. He still is an incredible defender. He still has it offensively, but I feel like as a whole, his scoring process was just far too slow this series. And I know a lot of people are talking about the hip injury he sustained last year, which kept him out a majority of the regular season, and how a lot of people feel that he lost some athleticism since then. But I don't think it's necessarily all of that. I just feel like the processing speed right now just isn't there. Like it feels like he's seeing the game a bit slower. He's a bit slow to pump fake. He's slow off the dribble. It's just something is off there right now, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if, again, like people were saying, it's something psychological with Wemby, but I think if you're a Chet Holmgren fan, you gotta hope he takes this personal. You gotta hope he fi- finds something deep within himself to grow his game in the offseason, to prepare for the matchup next year, because I'm sure we'll see that these two teams clash at some point in the future. Uh,
For Chet, I think it's absolutely in the mental for him, and I really do compare it a lot to Ben Simmons with Philly in 2021, where we know what happened with that when he passed out of that layup. Similar situation, Game 7 to go to conference finals, not the NBA finals, but still, it's farther than Philly's ever gone since 2001. So for that, it really makes me think of Ben Simmons a lot, and we saw what happened with him. You hope that Chet doesn't go down the same road. I really don't think it's going to happen because Chet's a lot better of a player than Ben Simmons ever was. And is a much better situation as well, obviously. But it's all in the mental. And I could tell you right where he lost it, and it was right when Wemby dunked on him in the first quarter. That is exactly where he lost, I bet. Because ever since then, he was hesitating on wide open threes, which we usually see him shoot and knock down. And other than that, he just never got in the paint. He never hit back cuts. He never hit backdoor screens. He never hit any. It felt like he was just like you said, Wemby psychologically. Like that's absolutely what it is in my opinion. Because he has everything else. He has all the intangibles. It's just in the mental, he just wasn't there in a game 7, which is odd to think about because just a year ago, in the biggest game 7 you could ever play in the NBA, in the finals, he was there. He helped them
he
win
had
a
7 blocks. He
championship.
set the block
Yeah,
record for Game 7 of the NBA
exactly.
Finals. Like
But
that's
then you
unheard
go
of. That
one
was
year.
incredible.
Yeah, then you go one year. It's just mind boggling to me. And I hope he doesn't go the same road as Ben Simmons, but I don't think it will be because obviously, like you said, he's all NBA talent, one of the best defensive players in the league. I don't see it happening, but that's what my head was at like yesterday after the game, going into today, just like Ben Simmons, Ben Simmons, Ben Simmons is all I was thinking about. But continue ahead.
Yeah, and I think just as a basketball fan, obviously I'm a Spurs fan. I don't want OKC to get better. I don't want OKC to win, but I don't want to see that happen to Chet because I feel like that was such a tragedy the way Ben Simmons' career went,
Mm-hmm.
with just from a mental aspect there. Like I really hope Chet doesn't go down that path because that sucks just to see in any player across any sport. That's awful. Uh, Cason Wallace, man, wow, was he huge?
Whew.
Man, yeah, like he gave me quite the scare on multiple occasions with his 3 point shot making. Like it felt like every time we would, you know, land a punch on them, he would always be the counter punch. It was him or Shea. They were the only two who were really had it going in Game 7.
Mm-hmm.
So it was obviously an incredible game from him. He's one of the better perimeter guys in the league. Uh, it's just awesome stuff from him. This is his first game starting in the series. I want to say, second game starting in the series,
Probably.
but he showed out in it, no doubt. I still question this going away from Queso, but I question Lou Dort going into the future. Just he did not show up in this series at all. Like his impact wasn't felt across the board. So I don't know what the future holds for Lou Dort. I think he might be in danger of being a salary dump at some point. It's just become beyond clear to me that Cason Wallace is the future starter on this team and not Lou Dort. Uh, so it's still a bit weird that Mark Digno just insists upon starting Lou Dort for so long, which makes me question if they will trade him. But I I don't know. I just don't think Lou Dort can continue starting on this team if they want to be serious about contending for the next decade or so. Like Lou Dort should not be starting on this team. I will say that. Obviously, he's a lot better of a player whenever his 3 point shot's falling, which it wasn't this series. So maybe you bet on that. Maybe you move him to the bench and bank on that. But right now, it wasn't good. I felt like it wasn't the right decision. Obviously, neither of us know half as much ball as Mark Digno, but I do. I'm very curious why he made those decisions.
I would
Uh,
assume it's probably just because of like the fact that Queso brings such a big spark off the bench, alongside
yeah,
Caruso coming off the bench.
but you already have Caruso for that role, so that's why I feel like Queso isn't necessarily needed there.
That's like double up, dude. Because what other team in the league can double up on quote unquote firepower off the bench? No team can really double up on that like the Thunder can. Obviously, they have a plethora of talent to do so, so why not? Kind of, and obviously, if Ludor can get his rhythm early and starting like rotation, that helps the rest of the team for the rest of the game because he's already early. which
And I
I
get
don't
it
know,
a
but
bit. I get a bit from an aspect of AJ Mitchell's out. They needed a secondary ball handler, but AJ Mitchell and J Dub were out. I feel like you need even more offense in your starting lineup.
that is true.
So having a guy who isn't having the greatest of shooting series and Lou Dort out there, I just don't necessarily understand. We saw them go to Jared McCain in games 5 and 6, I believe, to get a spark, and he was awesome for the most part in those games. It wasn't as great in game 6, but game 5 he was really awesome. He had a couple of big shots in game 7, but for the most part, Jared McCain is who I expected him to be. He's the definition of a microwave. He's the definition of a spark plug. He has never met a shot he doesn't like. That's
Hmm.
the one thing I could say about Jared McCain. And every good team just needs one of those guys to let it fly. Like I feel like for the Spurs, our let it fly guy is Julian Champagnie, who I'll talk about later because he had an incredible game. But Jared McCain, I like his future in OKC going forward. I don't think he's the greatest player. I don't think it was, you know, the worst mistake in the world Daryl Morey made trading him, but he is a valuable asset, and I think he has a good role on this Thunder team going forward. Uh, Hartenstein, obviously on the receiving end of one of the greatest blocks in NBA playoff history, but I'd say he was pretty solid. Float shot was there as always. Gave you good offensive rebounding in the first half. That was actually really what kept the Thunder in the game in the first half was their ability on the glass, and Hartenstein was a big part of that. So I have no questions about him. I do think at some point they're going to look to replace him either through this year in the draft or through Thomas Sorber coming off an injury. But I'm curious as to what Sam Presti does this offseason with him and more so with Lou Dort as well. Outside of them, Caruso didn't have his greatest shooting night, like 3 for 14. But again, I'm not going to blame Caruso in Game 7 because he was literally Steph Curry for the first 6 games of the series. He couldn't miss. You know, at some point, other people have to step up. At some point, everybody else is stepping up, but but him, or sorry, when it gets to the point where everybody else is stepping up but him, then it's a problem. But he was the only one stepping up for so long in this series, so I can't be mad about that. I do think he should have been assessed a flagrant there in the first quarter for that play on Steph Castle, which I think many would consider dirty. He was clearly just trying to foul him and not let him get a shot up, but I thought the fact that he didn't go for the ball at all and the fact that he kind of threw him could have warranted a flagrant two. I mean, I think it's pretty universal
At
that
the
that should have
very
been.
least, a flagrant one, Dame.
Yeah, I think everybody could agree that should have been a flagrant one. Props to Dylan Harper for making the save of the game and keeping Castle in the game. That was one of the
True
more
Filipino heritage right there.
that was one of the more
Absolutely.
awesome moments I feel like I've seen in a while. Like shout out to Slash Bros. That was awesome.
Slash
Uh,
Bros is tough.
that's about it from the Thunder side of things. Obviously, a great year from them, but I think this is a year they're going to look back on in a while and just they're going to feel bad about it. Like even if they win another title a few years down the line, they're going to feel bad. They're going to feel like this was a missed opportunity that they lost on their home court with a chance to go to the finals. Like that,
Teacher,
that's something you can't pass up, even regardless of the injuries.
teacher, I have a question.
But
Oh, it's kind of random, but how many times do you think you're gonna watch the highlights of the full game replay of this game in your lifetime?
it depends, man. We got 4 more wins to go, so we'll see. We'll see.
Even if you don't win the finals, you're not gonna watch this. Like,
If we don't win, I'm watching this every day for the rest of my life. But if we do, then it will be watched a lot. But
sorry, I just had to
maybe
think about
maybe
that.
maybe a bit less. Maybe a bit less. I don't know. We'll have
Yeah,
to see how
facts.
the finals goes. Getting into the Spurs aspect of it, we talked a lot about the Thunder, but let's talk about the victors and Victor Wembanyama. Where else to get it started with? Uh, he was great defensively. That always Victor Wembanyama. The 5 fouls was rough, man. He in the fourth quarter, I feel like he picked up some really dumb fouls. My head was on Mars for a large portion of the fourth quarter, especially when he picked up that fifth, and I saw Luke Cornett come onto the court. But We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it later when I get to Cornette's part. But Wemby had an interesting game because the first half wasn't great, especially offensively, and it felt like at times he was struggling to find his shot, like he was the latter half of the series in games 5, 6, and 7. But on top of that, his jump shot wasn't necessarily going in. He wasn't being as aggressive as he was in Game 6, so it wasn't great as a whole. But in that second half, something just clicked, something connected. He started getting to the line, got himself going. He hit a huge three with the shot clock expiring over J Will. He, like I said, he got to the line. But the most important part of that to me was the ability to draw bodies, draw attention. We call it gravity, and I feel like nobody in this game had more gravity than Victor Wembanyama in the second half because he was just almost picking them apart with his passing. Like it's not like he was making these incredible reads, but he was just getting to the basket, getting in the paint, and making these great passes, finding shooters, even if they didn't go in. He was creating great looks for his team, and that's can never be understated because most people don't think of Victor Wembanyama as a playmaker, but the truth is, the fact of the matter is, him being on the court will make him a great playmaker just because of his size, just because of how much of a threat to score the ball in the paint he is. So I'm happy with the game. Obviously, if we lost, it would have been very different. Probably wouldn't be as happy about Vic's game, but it is what it is. He played good enough to get us to win, and everybody else kind of picked up the slack, especially Julian Champagnie. I mean, what was the record that he broke? Or he tied Stephen Clay as the only players to hit five threes, I think, 5+ threes in Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals. It was something like that. And I was like, wow, Julian Champagnie is in a record book right next to Klay Thompson and Steph Curry. Like, wow, that's almost surreal. I mean, we're talking about a guy who was undrafted 3 years ago. But yeah, I want to say 3 years ago. He was undrafted. And man, I've watched Julian Champagnie come up through Austin, go into Austin Spurs games. So I don't think anybody deserves this more than him. And it's been so exciting to see his growth as a player because I feel like even last year he was rough around the edges as a player. He didn't really do too much outside of shooting, but now he's shown the ability to put the ball on the ground, get to his spots at times. He's been a presence on the glass. He's stepped it up defensively. He's made some good passes. Like, man, Julian Champagnie is integral to this team's success. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. And I'm going to be so happy for him whenever he gets that bag because it's well earned, it's well deserved. He's put in every ounce of work to get there, and I couldn't be happier for the guy. He's awesome. He's one of those guys who you want to see win a championship. You want to win a championship for, and he played like it in Game 7, 21 points. He shot like a splash bro. It was unreal. Some of the shots he hit. Moving on. Dylan Harper, talked about him a bit earlier. Save of the game. Possibly, I think you could say shot of the game with that step back three over Shea.
He hit that Nemhard shot, bro.
I know, but it's lefty. It's always so weird seeing
it's
lefty.
So much nicer, though.
I know, but more than the shot making, I want to talk about Dylan Harper's defense, and I want to talk about his presence on the glass because those are the two things this playoff run that have shocked me more than anything, really, because in college he wasn't really this great defender. He's always had great positional size, great intangibles, but he never really was a great defender. And now this playoff, it feels like he's really taken it to the next level. He's stepped up as an on-ball guy. You look through the stats, guys are shooting in the 30s, effective field goal percentage-wise against him. And he's just been a real factor. He's been creating turnovers, creating chaos. And he's a guy that this team couldn't succeed without Dylan Harper. Obviously, that shot was huge. Saving Steph, a technical, maybe an injection was huge. The offensive rebounding, again, like I mentioned, he wasn't really that big of a rebounder at Rutgers either. And now he's in the right place at the right time always. I mean, that putback that took so much weight off my chest whenever that went in. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, the one that came to the game, yeah.
Yeah, oh my God. What a moment. What a shot, what a rebound. It just everything about Dylan Harper was awesome that game. He's finally starting to look healthy again. And I think that's an amazing sign for the finals. De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox, De'Aaron Fox, De'Aaron Fox. I've had so much criticism of him in the past. Everybody knows. I don't like the contract. I don't think a lot of people like the contract, but he sure lived up to it in Game 7. I cannot speak more to how huge he has been this series. Ever since he came back in Game 3, the turnovers from Steph Castle and everybody else haven't really been as big of an issue playing against one of the greatest defenses of all time that thrives in transition. So we don't win this series without De'Aaron Fox. That's point blank. In Game 7, he stepped up his shot making to an extent which I feel like I haven't seen out of him in a while. Like Games 5 and 6 were really rough for him shooting the ball, and he picked it up, and it was just so huge. I know there was that one play where he stepped out of bounds. 2 points probably should have been waved off the board, but again, Spurs won by more than 2 points. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. But just a huge, huge performance from him. He lived up to every penny of his contract in that game. Let's hope it holds out for the finals, because I feel like if you can even get a championship out of the De'Aaron Fox contract, I feel like you can justify it pretty much fully. But just real hats off to him, man. I'm at a loss for words. He proved me wrong, proved a lot of people wrong, and he was incredible Game 7. So thank you, De'Aaron Fox. I have to say that. Thank you, De'Aaron Fox.
I think a big thing for me with Fox is the fact that, yeah, his contract isn't what you want it to be, and people criticize him and all that kind of stuff. But the Spurs are not here in the position they are without De'Aaron Fox, because you saw what happens when he's not on the court and Castle has 20 turnovers in the first 2 games of the series. That's not going to be sustainable to win a series, especially against a team like the Thunder. Honestly, any team having 20 turnovers combined in the first 2 games, 10 a pop, like that's unbelievable. So with Fox, takes a lot of pressure off the 2 guards, young guards in Castle and Harper, who aren't at the NBA level of ball handling and facilitating yet. But Fox is absolutely there, and you're not there. The Spurs aren't there without Fox. But I do get it. Long term, he's not really probably the viable option there. But right now, I think all Spurs fans can hang their hat to De'Aaron Fox for the fact that he's gotten that team this far, in my opinion. He's the X factor right now.
Yeah, no doubt. If he continues this level of playing to the finals, I think that's a really good sign for the Spurs. So I just hope the shooting keeps up. I hope the aggressiveness keeps up, especially when you have Jalen Brunson across the court from you. Like I hope De'Aaron Fox plays up to his contract. I hope he plays up to the ability that we know he has. So yeah,
But one more thing about Fox.
Complete hats
How
off.
sad is it for Kings fans for the fact that your 2 guards that you had at one point in your team have made back-to-back NBA Finals with Halliburton last year and Fox this year? Like, shout out JT, man.
Don't forget
Jason
Mike
Teeter.
Brown. Don't forget
Mike Brown. God, Lee, dude.
And Harrison
Shout out
Barnes.
Jason Teeter.
And
Harrison Barnes, man.
Well, it
out.
is really awful. I feel every day for Kings fans. I feel so bad. But
Jason Teeter, we stand with you, bro.
I'm sorry, man. That's awful. Truly. Another guy who I've been critical of, Keldon Johnson. Just again, hats off to Keldon Johnson. What a fourth quarter. He had 8 points, but those were 8 huge points. They were 8 swing points. The first 3 just gave them life. Casey Wallace answered right back like he did this game. He's an incredible player. Frustrated the hell out of me. But then Keldon goes right back down the court. Wemby draws 2 inside, draws the defender away from him. Wemby kicks to the corner, and he drills it deep in the corner. Man, such a huge shot. Then he got out in transition. I think it was Vassell or Champagny found him, got a lay, and boosted the lead to, I want to say 11 at that point. That was one of the
11.
moments of the game for me. That was one of the moments where I was like, wow, we might win this game. That was really one of the moments where I saw, I saw the light at the end of the tunnel. And just hats off to Keldon Johnson. Played up to every bit of his contract. If he can do anything like that, just give us any sort of shooting, anything offensively, not turn the ball over, reduce dumb shots against the Knicks, then man, I can live happy with him on my team going forward if we can get a title out of it. Wasn't the greatest Vassell game, so I'm not going to hit too much on him, but he's been incredible defensively. So even on a bad night, he's still performing really well because of his defense. He kind of has a high floor in that regard. Steph Castle, he had 6 turnovers, I believe, which wasn't great. He did a really good job reducing turnovers ever since Fox came back, but he had a few that stressed the hell out of me down the stretch. So I do think that is something that needs to be worked on before the next series. But he still played a great game. He had some huge rebounds. He had one putback in the fourth. It was very similar to the Harper one that really it was like a gut punch for OKC, and really impressive stuff. I've loved everything I've seen this playoff out of Stephon Castle. Really can't speak enough about him, but great game, great series overall. Guarding Shea, played his heart out, and I don't know, why not wrap it up with kind of the man of the evening, Luke Cornett. Man, what a play! What a play! What a play! What a play! I didn't even hear the call live. I didn't get to hear Blocked by Cornett live. It was so loud at the watch party. But oh my God, that is one of the greatest calls in NBA history. Like, I have been critical of Mike Tirico, and I know all he said was blocked by Cornett, but it's such a simple call, but saying blocked by Cornett is so funny. It's so great. It's just everything about it is awesome, man. Because I feel like to really appreciate this block, you have to know the full context of the series, because Luke Cornett was arguably unplayable at times against the Thunder just because of the athleticism gap, the size gap at times. It really felt like every time Luke Cornett came into the game, the Thunder went on a run. And obviously that's going to happen at any point when Victor Wembanyama is not on the court. He's just that good of a player. But it felt like Luke kind of got picked on at times in the series just because he wasn't Wemby. And he still put in the greatest 59-second shift I've seen in my life. Man, I remember seeing, my head was on Mars whenever Harper turned the ball over, because that was a dumb turnover. Why is he throwing an entry pass that high to Luke Cornett when Isaiah Hartenstein is guarding him? And seeing Hartenstein run the break was already kind of funny in general. But then I thought Luke Cornett was going to get like a flagrant foul there. I really thought he was going to just hack the hell out of him, not let him get the bucket. But he pulls out the most perfect block I feel like I've ever seen in my life. Like I said earlier, this is one of the greatest playoff blocks of all time, and I feel like it has to be. I feel like if it was in Game 7 of the NBA Finals and not the Conference Finals, I feel like it would arguably be up there with LeBron's. Like, obviously, LeBron came from way further back later in the game against Andre Iguodala in a tie game scenario. Like, nothing will ever beat LeBron's block, but oh my God, that was spectacular. That's the only way I could describe it. Forever grateful to Luke Cornett for that. Just what an awesome moment.
Somebody on Twitter said that Luke Cornett saw Magic City Monday in the ball.
I saw that, yeah. I've loved the jokes that have come out of it too. I don't know if you remember the play. No, not play. I wasn't seeing playing. The in-season tournament game where we played y'all in the quarterfinals, where Luke Cornett absolutely got posterized by Bron.
Yeah, by Bron.
And so somebody said at that moment that Bron transferred his powers to Luke Cornett just to beat the Thunder, and I was like, bro, it's such a cool moment, man. Luke Cornett's $41 million contract is forever worth it just for that moment. That was awesome. Easily could have swung the game in the Thunder's favor if Isaiah Hartenstein gets that off, but oh my God, I still I every time I see a clip of that, every time I see a highlight of that, I have to watch at least to hear Mike Tirico's call, man. Because blocked by Cornett just gets me every time, bro. That hits me right in the soul, bro. Bro, it's such a good call. It's like the urgency in his voice, and like you hear the sound of of him slamming that ball against the backboard. Like, not to mention, it was just such a perfect block too. Like, I don't
Real,
think you could play
bro.
that any better. That's so ridiculous. The fact that Hartenstein was going for a dunk there too, like, my
I've never
God,
seen a white guy that big run that fast in my life, bro. Like,
it's
if I saw that head on coming towards me, I think I shrivel up and die, bro.
bro. It's just such a crazy out of this world play. It's something you'd expect from Wemby, and that's what kills me is like we have the best defensive player in the world, best defensive player maybe ever in a win or go
Bro.
home Game 7 in the Western Conference Finals, and the best defensive play wasn't even made by him. Like the defensive play that arguably won the game was not made by him.
He was
It was
over the
made. It
bench
was
like
made,
this, bro. It was just like
bro.
biting
Like,
his face, bro.
bro, I get him. I get him because I was so stressed out at the end of that game, man. Like that was.
Fuck, dude.
I mean, at the end of the day, just that's a franchise changing victory. That is something that I'll remember. That's something the city will remember for a long time. That was against all odds. It felt like. I know the Thunder had injuries. Dub wasn't there. AJ Mitchell was there, but they had plenty of talent to still win this series, to win this game. And wow, I can't believe that we actually beat the Oklahoma City Thunder in Game 7 on their home court. The first team to ever do that, by the way. They've never lost on their home court in Game 7. So
Yeah.
just a surreal moment as a fan, as an observer of the game. Like, I told you, I think I said it on our last pod. I was like, I don't care how the game ends. I just want the Spurs to win. But now that we've won, looking back on it too, I'm just happy that we as basketball fans got such an epic conclusion to what was really an epic series as a whole. Arguably the
Yeah, I
most
agree.
hyped series ever, some could say. I already saw there was a stat that social media wise, this game had the most impressions by an NBA game ever. And that's nuts. That's ridiculous to hear about. And it's not surprising, but at the same time, just what a day. Uh, Man, what a day, what a game. Everything about that was surreal. It still feels surreal. I got to go to the airport right after, see the players come back. Got to see Pop waving at us from his car. I mean, everything about that was surreal. I mean, it was really like a party in the city for a night. And here's to four more. That's all really I got to say. Here's to four more.